Welcome to the bold analysis. If the president instructed the secretary to the cabinet, Mercy Wanjau, to ensure that Muturi is not invited for the Kakamega cabinet retreat, then it is only right to call that an act of cowardice. Because I think it takes just a stroke of a pen to sack Muturi if you believe he's not part of the cabinet. Welcome to the Bold Analysis. In this podcast, Muturi was absent in Kakamega, something that was very, in fact, that is very predictable. And in this podcast, I'm going to delve deep into the behind-the-scene intrigues of what is happening and why the president is in a very tight spot over Muturi. As we get to that, I want to say thank you. We are supporting Charles so that we can take Charles home. We supported him in Nairobi here. And this is when he was diagnosed with meningitis in Umoja, Brilliant. But he passed on after he was taken to Mama Lucy, which is a public facility. Now, 1 month down the line, the body is still detained there, stranded, with another bill in Mama Lucy, and even the burial expenses are pending. So they reached out to us, and as Team Bold, we took it upon ourselves that we had helped Charles when he was alive. The best we can do is how we can take the body from here, get a car or a vehicle that will carry the body and the other rest of the few family members who are there, so that it can be buried, so that the story comes to an end. I would want to hear your voice, the voice of the son who I spoke to here.
Mimi ni firstborn, and today nilikuwa naomba nimekuja mbele yenu kama mnaweza kunisaidia as a firstborn of Charles. Charles is my father, so if mnaweza kutusaidia mtoto tumpeleke home at least arrest, because amesha suffer kuna kamina amesha suffer kuwa mgonjwa tena amekufa tena mchari amekwama. So mimi nilikuwa naomba tu kama mnaweza kutusaidia tumpeleke dad home, tumzike peacefully Kisumu Seme, maana yote ikuwe tu mzuri, roho yangu itulie, because mimi hata silali cause dad ashakonjeka kwa miaka mingi.
So we are doing 100 bob challenge. Kidogo kidogo hujaza kibaba. Any amount you have, I want to say thank you. Thank you. And for those who have responded, we are still moving around it. We believe that we've now got, I think, around 44,000, if I'm not wrong. But kidogo kidogo hujaza kibaba. I want to take the body on Friday. So we'll have tomorrow and Thursday. The little of what we have, we'll be able to fix the budget so that we take them home. We take the body home. Ladies and gentlemen, the president has been, as the president spent better part of his weekend, or rather the long weekend, in the Western Corridor. And on Monday, or rather, yes, on Sunday, he attended a church service in Bungoma. And then on Monday, there was a working tour in Kakamega. And I think it's high time we start calling those things campaign rallies in Kakamega. Tuesday, the president is supposed to be, Wednesday, the president is supposed to launch a market in Luanda, the famous Luanda market. I understand things are very hostile there because demolitions have been done and the traders are very angry, even with that project, before even it starts. Now, in Kakamega, there was a cabinet meeting today, and NTV reports exclusively that Muturi missed, and when he was asked, he had a response.
The first cabinet meeting this year was held in Kakamega, where President William Ruto will be on a week-long developmental tour. Led by the head of state, Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki, and Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, a majority of the cabinet secretaries arrived at the Kakamega State Lodge early on Tuesday morning for the meeting. Even newly appointed cabinet secretaries who were attending their first ever cabinet meeting arrived early, eager and ready for business. When everyone settled, one cabinet secretary was conspicuously missing in action. The CS, none other than Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi, who last week revealed that his son was abducted last year by the very government he serves, causing a public uproar over the spate of abductions in the country and attracting backlash from President Ruto's allies who threatened to impeach him. Until Tuesday evening, it was all speculation that Muturi did not attend the meeting, with State House officials remaining mum over whether Muturi was in attendance or was a no-show. NTV has eventually confirmed that Muturi did not attend the cabinet meeting, but it remains unclear whether he made that decision or the decision was made for him by the secretary to the cabinet, Mercy Wanjau. NTV has reached out to Muturi to know why he was not at the meeting, and Muturi responded on text with the following 8 words, and I quote, "Please confirm from the secretary to the cabinet," end of quote. Muturi's absence from the crucial meeting now fuels speculation of disquiet, not only in government over the abductions, but also between the cabinet secretary and his boss, President Ruto. His absence has also raised several questions, including whether Ruto is considering sacking Muturi just a few months after reappointing him to his cabinet, where he initially sat as the country's Attorney General, or whether there is a larger plan to not only kick out Muturi and other rumored dissenting voices from government in the coming weeks. As these questions linger for now, the cabinet secretary last week ruled out resigning and further dared those who have threatened to impeach him to try.
I would just say bring it on, at my age, I'm not the kind of person to respond to some of it is really very perfunctory statement made by fairly inexperienced politicians. I think they are not worthy my response. So if anybody thinks that I don't know what I'm doing, then they are up for a rude shock.
The president himself has been silent over the matter, and now all eyes are on him to see how he will react. Whichever decision President William Ruto makes is likely to have an impact on his re-election bid in 2027. David Muthoka, NTV.
So maybe let me tell you what happens. Secretary to the cabinet is called Mercy Wanjau. She's the person who invites cabinet members, and that is the tradition. She's the secretary to that cabinet. She's the one who invites the members to a cabinet meeting. This cabinet meeting in Kakamega State Lodge was actually the first one in 2025. And it was the first cabinet meeting in 2025. Number two, it was the cabinet where the new members that were from Mount Kenya, the Kavogo, Kabogo, Lee Kinyanjui, and Kagwe, were supposed to be introduced in the cabinet. That was their first cabinet meeting. Now, according to reports, several cabinet members arrived in Kakamega very early in the morning. Remember, Kagwe and some few others were already spent in Kakamega, that side of the western wing. I think several of them in Kisumu, because they were there on a walking tour on Monday. So through all this, Muturi is saying clearly he was not invited. And that is when the nation team asked him, and he said, ask the secretary to the cabinet. The secretary to the cabinet, Mercy Wanjau, is the person who invites Muturi. She can only work under the directives of the president. On this one, there can be no two way about it. There is no way that president can also say, I didn't know. Because if she's not under instructions, not to invite him. Muturi was supposed to meet the president one-on-one for the first time since the stormy press briefing where he raised concerns about the issue of abductions. And the president, and when he came back from Dubai on Sunday, I think that was on Sunday, on Monday, had a closed door meeting on Saturday, if I'm not wrong, had a meeting with NIS boss Nordin Haji, and even shared that photo in his Facebook page, with meeting with the NIS boss and his Ethiopian counterpart. That was an act of showing members of the public that he's standing in solidarity with Nordin Haji. And it can be so bad. In fact, it is highest level of irresponsibility if the president will also fall in for that narrative that Kikuyu doesn't want Nordin Haji because Nordin Haji is a Somali. This was never the point. It was never, the question was about the tenure of NIS and who exactly was doing abductions. And probably the president was uncomfortable by the fact that the spy boss was directly implicated. And some people have also said that why was Muturi even leaking what the president said with NIS boss? Some people have also said that probably Muturi, through that affidavit, is also telling the country how president's communication team is managed, and that would compromise his security. There are several questions that arose about it, but I think the DCI said that Muturi should go and write a statement. If they did ask, I think Muturi would not have gone there for that statement. We understand, even ahead of this cabinet snap, Muturi security had been scaled down. There were multiple reports that the office was also not getting recognition, and he had stopped receiving briefs from the principal secretaries and MDAs and head of departments in the ministry on critical ministry decisions or other ministry meetings, and with a clear mind that Muturi is now being isolated. This has been pulled out. He has also been pulled out of a critical cabinet group known as emergency feedback. I don't know what it means, but that is the information we're getting, that emergency feedback. I think this is a cabinet that is a WhatsApp that is bringing together all the cabinet members. Now, State House is planning to reorganize the government structures and some of the functions, or rather some of the state departments under the Ministry of Public Affairs of Public Service could be handed over to the head of public service, that is Felix Kosgei. So through that, they will render that ministry powerless, or rather insolvent, obsolete. Then through that, Muturi would seize hold of his. But I think, I want to repeat this. The president has the decision. He has to make this decision somewhere, somehow. This decision, however much it is delayed, it has to be made. He's the appointing authority to the cabinet. So if he wants Muturi out, the humiliation card of sizing down security supposed to be invited from it, for the cabinet it is not invited there. I think it is not really organizing well. And one of the things that the president should always be wary about is the way the cabinet is not intact. So ladies and gentlemen, I want us to look at all this. Remember, sacking Muturi from the job is the most predictable option available. I don't know how William Ruto can second guess around it, because the MPs have said they're not going to impeach Muturi. And in Parliament, when the deliberations were going on, Ichung'wa said clearly that Parliament will not engage in impeaching Cabinet Secretary. Now, let me tell you, the reason why the impeachment route is not very conducive for Muturi is you must have the substance. You must have the substance. You cannot impeach someone based on implicating NIS boss, because Parliament is lowering the threshold of an impeachment, and the president understands that if he goes home through an impeachment, he can get back and he might actually litigate against that decision in the court of law. And that would take the whole discussion. Number two, the MPs are also not comfortable to impeach him based on these abductions, a stormy press briefing on abductions. Remember, if MPs appear like they are supporting, they're impeaching Muturi because of the abductions, then it is a gesture that probably they are supporting those abductions. So it is not very easy. And the only option available, I'm even wondering why the president is maneuvering around all this with the humiliation and skipping cabinet and security scale down. That to me does not really hold. The most critical point is you can even withhold salary, you can do other things, but he's declined, he's remained there. The one question that is here is this, and I think someone just asked me about it. Kevin, does Muturi know that Ruto don't want him there? Yes, he knows. But why is he not leaving? He's not leaving because he doesn't want to give Ruto, he doesn't want to be seen as someone who was just doing that press briefing or just was just raising so that he would make an exit, would create momentum for an exit. And I think he's staying in there so that he see the way Ruto misbehaves. And in the long run, he's getting the headlines. I can tell you tomorrow, Sunday Nation on Standard, they will have Muturi in the headline. They will have Muturi in the headline. The biggest challenge Ruto is facing is, I think, decisions based on emotions, if I'm not wrong. Muturi's statement did not need emotions. Muturi's statement needed introspecting and think, okay, what he's saying, he's already told the country that NIS is behind abduction of his son. The country has believed it. So what can we do? How can we navigate around it? It just needed the sober. The other structural damages that are being brought, that disrespecting the president, that the NIA boss cannot defend himself in public, all those things are very irrelevant. On Muturi's case, you needed to put emotions down and just pick up the real discussion. He has said it. Did they make the call? Is this is not Kenya's thing? I need to stop abductions, and now this and this. You needed something else. But emotions is not the way to go. Like this one of not inviting Muturi is emotions. But let me tell you why Muturi has put Ruto in a very tight spot. The president handlers believe that CS Muturi is warming up to the Rigathi Gachagua party camp. And if he is dismissed, then he will walk out with a victim card and have the momentum to join that party. If you impeach him, they also fall in the same impeachment category with Rigathi. Rigathi was also impeached. So they will start saying, nana Rigathi alitolewa, impeachment grounds zake hazikuwa strong. The same na hizi za Muturi haziko strong. So that card is very difficult for him because you believe, they know very well that I sack Muturi today, he will have more heat. And in fact, he will want tempers to go down in Mount Kenya. You want Mount Kenya tempers to go down, but the small little things he's doing are making things even more worse. I remember this issue about cabinet has been here, and even during Rigathi's time, there are a lot of hula balloon around it. The second issue is this: humiliation card of not being invited for the cabinet retreat, the logistics not organized, not involved the ministry activities, scaling down of security, even with the holding salary, everything. These humiliation cards are playing straight in CS Muturi's trap, because he's building Muturi's profile. And Muturi is having things that he can tell electorates when he walks out of government. I can tell you, even though he's not the guy who will add a lot of salt in it, but he's building the profile of Muturi. The people who didn't know Muturi, but the way the president is behaving around it It is a signal, and that humiliation card is the wrong card. Probably he should just face the sack. Sack him if you feel that is the best thing. That humiliation is not even changing things. Now, handing over the cabinet to anyone on the east side will not bring any change. There was a story here that Ruto met Kiraitu Murungi. I understand Ruto wanted Kiraitu Murungi to join his party. That's the bottom line. If you ask around, you will understand. That is what happened. He wanted that Mbas party to join the UDA and form that new party. No, it's already yellow, but I think Muturi, they did not reach a consensus. So even if you take that cabinet slot and give to someone from Meru, you shall have not answered the East question, because people have the understanding, and Wanjiku is buying in, especially in Mount Kenya, is those who've joined government have joined on their own volition. In fact, let me tell you, if Uhuru Kenyatta had owned up and supported those who've been picked to join cabinet, it would have been very easy for Ruto to manage Muturi's situation, because he would have then gone back to pick someone else. No, Muturi was Uhuru Kenyatta's ally, close ally. He would have gone back then to pick even someone from the Jubilee, then leave alone that discussion of East or West. But now, even if you go and take someone, it doesn't change. Lastly, Muturi will be having more dossiers on abductions. And I said this and I will repeat. Ruto understands well that Muturi will go to court. And when he goes to court, the discussion about abductions are going to continue. This one legitimized William Ruto's power in December. It really brought some harm, a lot of hurting in December. So this matter of abductions is very deep, because remember, even the security chiefs, they have refused to go to court. Blatantly refused. Why? Because they're saying they don't have the information. So the president is so keen. But I believe instead of these other damages, you should just face Muturi and sack him. But these others is just an act of someone who is a coward. Thank you.